You're about to watch another exciting episode of the Dungeon Run, but did you know that you can actually be part of the adventure? Tune in live on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and you can make your voice heard and help determine the fate of our adventurers. Hope to see you there.
As always, the Dungeon Run is thrilled to be partnering with amazing companies as our sponsors. Companies like Die Hard Dice. If you go to dieharddice.com right now, you can find the most beautiful dice trays, and other D&D accessories created by some of the kindest people in the business. They have these amazing Dire D20s, which are like extra size metal D20s that give you a really good clonk when you roll it around your dice tray. They have one called Absolute Midnight that I'm a very big fan of. Check it out. Free shipping on orders $30 or more, and if you use our code Dungeon Run at checkout, you get yourself a lovely little discount on us. So do that right now. World Anvil. World Anvil is created by world builders for world builders. Whether it's D&D, Pathfinder, Vampire the Masquerade, or your own system, they have all the tools you'll need to create interactive maps, historical timelines, family trees, everything you could ever possibly imagine for your campaign, your novel, your story is there on World Anvil. Go to worldanvil.com, and if you use the code Dungeon Run, you get yourself 40% off a yearly subscription. Thank you, World Anvil. Thank you, Die Hard Dice.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of The Broken Ring. I'd like to say a quick hello to my single player. How you doing?
That sounds so sad.
Sounds
like I'm an old single dad or something.
The single swinger.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Oh yeah.
You good
Let's
to go?
do it.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. It's been a long time since I've done a one-on-one, so
I'm really excited about this.
Good.
This special episode. So we're actually just going to start right into it. Bosog, I need you to make me a con saving throw.
Jeez. All right.
We're starting off rich.
16.
16, okay. You had gone to sleep in this half-ruined tavern that the Rat King had allowed you guys to stay in, and it seems like it's kind of his home base, but he leaves. He allows you guys to have the whole building to yourselves. And there are some rooms that are still intact. And you each find a comfortable place to rest. You wake up in the middle of the night. You've been tossing and turning all night. Something hasn't been sitting right in your stomach, and you wake up and you lurch over the side of this cot that you had been sleeping in that smells mildewy, but you know, it's stable. It's not going to break under you. And you almost vomit. And you get this bizarre taste in your mouth that really, you're awake immediately because this is so unusual. You taste dead leaves and muck, of all things.
Mm.
And when you wake up and look around, something seems a little off. You can see all of your companions sleeping, just dead asleep. And maybe it's just that it's so late at night, but there seems to be no color at all in anything. And there's this soft white mist covering the forms of your friends, your companions. The door is shut. You are just in this room where you've all kind of collapsed together in safety for now. You don't see anything else. You don't hear anything else. It's almost like everything is muted.
Have I ever experienced anything like this before?
No.
I think my initial jerk reaction would be to poke Al and see if he snaps out of it or not.
You go to poke your friend, and your hand goes through, and where you touch, the image sort of breaks like it's being projected on a wall of mist. This hole appears, and then it slowly closes right back up.
And you said I don't hear anything? All right, I'm gonna use, it's hilarious. I never thought I was gonna use this ability, and I've used it in every single episode. Use my magic awareness ability. So it pings out in 60 feet in all directions just to see if I can sense if there's some kind of a spell that's affecting me right now, or if there's a magical entity or item or something that's within 60 feet.
Yeah.
And I'll of course get up and kind of walk around a little bit as well, just sort of reaching out with that ability to see what all might be around me.
Okay. You open your senses, and it's like you're tuning a radio for the first time. It's hard to get this signal that you had so easily before when you reached out to find these items. You get a sort of weak ping in bursts from your items, your magical items. You noticeably don't get any from the magical items that would be on your companions. You don't get any sign from them. You do feel something outside the door.
Okay.
Not directly outside, but somewhere in the tavern. You get a sense of something. Let me look this up and I can tell you exactly.
Well, I'll have to go to the door and look through a crack or something to be able to see it and register what it may or may not be magic-wise.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
Yeah, sure. You go to the door. Do you open it or do you just look through?
I'd look through first.
Okay.
And if I don't see anything that's an immediate threat, then I'll open it.
You definitely don't see anything that's an immediate threat. What you see is you are all up on this second floor, and there's almost a mezzanine, like a little walkway that it has railing, and you can look into the main part of the tavern. You don't see anything outside on the walkway, and again, you don't hear anything as well.
Okay, I'll open the door then.
Okay, when you go out, it's really easy to see. Now that you're out, you can see straight through the railing, and down on the bottom floor, in the middle of where there would be upturned chairs, where the table was that you had had these conversations with the Rat King before, there's no tables or chairs anymore. There's just a giant hole, just a black hole in the middle of the floor. And when you look at it, you can tell this is a conjuration spell.
Is the black hole flat? And is it moving or changing? It's just does it look like it was cut out of the ground?
It looks...
Or it's a spell that creates a black hole?
It's a spell, and it's not necessarily that it's like creating a vortex or something. This is... You think that the black hole is more of a, I guess,
portal?
An aesthetic choice? Yes, it's a portal. And it's a solid black in the center, and it sort of fades out as it goes out further from the center.
And that's what I'm sensing magic from? Okay.
Very strong magic.
Real quick, if I look at myself, am I gray?
No.
I'm going to look around to see if I see anything that could have come out of this hole.
Make a perception check for me.
Nope. 9.
9. You don't see anything that could have come out of the hole.
Okay, I'll take my good old rusty halberd and poke it into the hole like a stick.
Okay. You go down the stairs and you go with your halberd and you start poking the center of the hole. And you feel the wood underneath and you can hear it plink, plink against the wood floor.
But nothing happens. I'll reach out and try just touching it with the tip of my finger.
Okay. As you do so, it's cool, like putting your hand in running water in a creek. And you hear a voice. You can't tell if it's in your head or if it's somewhere in the room, but it says, "Do you consent?"
Do I consent to what?
It's nothing else. You don't hear the
Ow!
voice again. It's just quiet. Do you want to make another perception check for me?
Yeah.
As you have your hand in this portal?
8. Do I consent? I'm gonna try another experiment.
Okay.
I'll take out a coin, silver piece, and flick it into the middle of the black hole.
You hear it clink, 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 clink as it hits
So
the
if
floor.
I put my head down to the ground and look sideways, is it like on another plane to where there's a gap between the...
There's no gap. It's just a misty dark.
Does light pass through it? Like if I hold my flaming crown over the top of the hole and I look past underneath it, does light go through?
Mm-mm.
All right.
It's a magical darkness. You had gotten the sense when you had your magical senses opened that this was more an aesthetic choice, that this is a spell, and it is asking your permission.
I see. Do I recognize the voice of the...
It's neutral. It's very... I don't want to say automated, but kind of.
It's Siri.
Yeah,
talking Siri.
it is, yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, I think you would do this. I would jump into the middle of this circle and thrash around.
Okay. You jump in,
Yeah.
and you thrash around, and it's almost like you're playing in a puddle. It feels cool, standing in a river, but it's just misty darkness. And again, that voice says, "Do you consent?"
I mean, I'm stuck in this gray world and I have no idea how to get out. So yeah,
Okay.
I just very quietly and very grumpily go, "Yeah, fine, all right, I consent."
Okay. This mist begins to swell up at your feet, and it slowly comes up like water rising, and it goes over your head, and all you see is dark, pitch black.
I hold my breath,
You do,
just out of like
yeah.
instinct.
That's totally fair. It feels like water, but there's no pressure. It doesn't feel like you're under any weight of any kind. And a moment passes, and just when you think, "I have to breathe,"
Yeah.
it begins to fade. Slowly, your vision starts to clear, And you're in another place entirely. It's maybe midday here, you're not sure, because you're in what looks like a massive hallway, but all of the walls are these gigantic tree roots that are so much larger than you are. And there's a mix of moss and dirt on the ground below your feet. The moss looks normal sized. And there are teeny tiny little white and brown mushrooms growing all along this walkway that you're in. You can just barely peek out into the world beyond this branch hallway. And it's a world you've never seen before. It is like every image that you see of these trees. It's so bright outside, it's painful, but everything looks like an echo, like it's a shifting image in the wind. It doesn't look physical. It looks like an idea.
Like an illusion.
Like an illusion. This hallway goes straight forward, and up ahead, it just gets a little bit darker. You can see it goes into some kind of room, you're not entirely sure. But there's...
Well, hold on, I will reach out and grab some of these mushrooms to see if they're real or not.
Yeah, you do. You grab a mushroom and you feel it in your hand, and you can hear the like squeak that they make when you rub them together, because they're kind of rubbery. And you can feel the fronds underneath breaking apart in your hands.
And do they have a smell?
They do. They smell like mushrooms. They smell like portobello mushrooms, like a cooking mushroom.
I eat them.
They're good.
Okay.
Actually, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know how Bosog would feel. They are raw mushrooms, and they taste a little bit like dirt.
Yeah, that's right in his wheelhouse.
Perfect. Then it's a great taste.
Okay.
It's a great meal.
But you're saying that's real, but the trees that make the hall feel...
The branches themselves are open just a little bit, and you can see through them into the outside world. The outside world looks strange. The inside world looks real and physical.
I see. Okay. And it's bright out.
It's very bright. There are beams of light that are coming through these openings. And these openings are like this big. It's like enough to like barely peek, and there aren't too many.
Right. And I don't hear anything still? It still has that kind of weird lack of sound world?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear it, just the sounds that you make, how you affect this world, that is how you hear.
Right, but I don't hear like birds chirping or wind blowing or natural sounds.
Actually, there is one thing that you hear. And it's a little disconcerting, I guess, but funny, because you hear this almost cartoonish snoring coming from up ahead. This like honk, me kind of thing. And when you look ahead up in that dark hallway...
I think I need to hear what the snoring sounds like specifically.
I'm not that good at impressions.
Oh, come on.
No. Roll a persuasion for me.
Okay.
Let's see if you can persuade your DM.
Oh man, I'm so bad at this. No, 4.
No, you have to use your imagination. I'm sorry.
All right, that's fair.
It's all theater of the mind.
That's fair.
Good try though. You up ahead in this hallway, right on the cusp of where it seems like it goes into this bigger room, you see this dark shape, and it looks like it's hunched over, leaned against the wall, and the snoring is coming from that shape.
Small, medium, large?
Medium.
Okay.
Humanoid.
Hey, you, wake up.
There's a little start, and he snorts a little bit, and there's a groan, and he stands up, and you see the shape of a beak. And this person takes the hood off of his head, and from here you can see a kenku.
Have I ever seen a kenku before?
You have once or twice.
Oh, okay.
They're not super common in the Feywild, but they do travel. So you know what they are. And he...
Are you a bird man?
He pauses for a moment, and he has his winged arms to his sides, and he goes, "Give me a minute." Sorry, what was your question?
I asked if you were a bird man, and then I realized that might be rude to say.
A little bit.
But to be honest with you, this is a little strange for me.
Okay.
Do you know Mab? Do you work for Mab?
What a funny question to ask. I know Mab. I do not work for Mab.
Okay. Who do you work for? Who do you serve?
The greater good.
So the gods?
No.
No.
I'm Dovka, and he holds out this winged hand to you.
I'm Bosog.
Hello.
The boot. Barboza. You can just call me Boots.
Is it because of your boots?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, it's been a long time since I've talked to another person. I talk to myself a lot here. I don't
Wait, this isn't a prison, is it?
No, well, not for us.
Are you the one that cast the spell that asked me to consent? Is that you?
Sort of. Do you want to walk? Let's walk. Come with me.
Are you gonna answer my questions?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also feel like I have to show you.
So it's complicated.
It is. It's very complicated.
Can you simplify it for me?
The Feywild itself wanted you here.
Oh. That's never a good thing.
It's complicated, like I said.
Yeah. No. All right.
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Cool. Follow me. And he leads you into this massive room, and it opens up. It's this spiraling tree. Massive. The biggest tree you've ever seen in your life. It's the size of a building. And it goes up into this peak, almost like a pointed dome. And in the center of this room, there are stalks of mushrooms that are as tall as trees. These little white mushrooms and these portobello mushrooms that are growing massive in here with very little sunlight. There's very tall, dark grass in the center of the room, many massive ferns, and in the very center is a stone chair. And in that stone chair is a figure slumped over. You'll have to get closer to look. But Dovka says, "So you..."
Who's this?
Wow. Not good news. Like I said, this isn't...
Is this the king?
No, she's no king.
She?
Yeah, not anymore.
She's sick? She got the blight?
No, she's,
Dead. Tired.
No, she can't be killed. That's why she's here. Like I said, it's not a prison for us.
Seems like a prison.
Not for us.
So you want to be here?
I have to be here.
Why?
Someone needs to be here to keep an eye on her.
Because she's dangerous?
Yes.
Oh.
How much do you know about
Not a lot.
Well,
I'm afraid not a lot. I just kind of do what I'm told to do. You know?
Yeah.
I like to keep things simple, and that, that's worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid you're gonna...
You're gonna tell me more than I need to know? Is that what you...
No, you do need to know a lot, because I'm about to send you on a mission, and it is going to help Mab. But I need to give you a lot of information first. I'm sorry, none of it is simple.
You got something I can write it down with?
Do I? And he starts to go around the room. And it looks like he started to make his own furniture out of the things available. There's a bed that he has cut the top of a mushroom off of. And none of these things look like they're rotting at all. He's cut the top of a mushroom. And he's sliced very thinly to make a blanket, and he sits on top of the mushroom, and there's a little blanket and a little mushroom pillow, and there's bits of the branches that he's used to create a table, a little desk, a little dresser. And some of his clothes even look like he has made them himself. Like he's learned how to weave these grasses into a hemp fabric of some kind somehow. And he shuffles over to one corner of the room, and it takes him a second because it's a large room. And he starts to go through things, and finally he comes up with some parchment that is very rough. It looks like he put it together himself. And he comes over with a thing of charcoal, and he hands you this parchment and charcoal.
That'll do.
Do you need water or anything?
I mean, if you got something stronger, I'll drink it. I got water.
I tried to make a fermented mushroom alcohol. You want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. He hobbles back over. There's a barrel next to all of his setup, and he has this carved spoon handle that he pulls some out of the barrel, some very dark liquid, into two little cups that look like they're handmade, and they're actually very well done. They're very smooth. It looks like this is near when he started to really learn his craft. He brings one over to you. He hands you this cup of this dark, foul-smelling alcohol, and he
bottoms up,
clinks and takes a sip.
I'll wait for him to start to drink before I drink mine.
He does take a good swill of it, and then immediately starts coughing very hard. You can hear it rattling in his lungs. Now that you're standing close to Dovka and you've had a minute, you can tell there's a whitening of some of the feathers on his face. He looks like he's older. He's maybe in human years would be 50, 60. He coughs and hacks into and he starts to pat his lungs, and he sets it down.
Pretty good.
I would not use the word good, but it is strong.
Oh, it does a trick.
It does.
You gonna be all right?
I'm fine. I'm not as young as I used to be. Wow. God. All right. There's a lot to cover. I'm not gonna have any more of that. Oh, God, I don't even know where to start. Do you know much about before Mab was queen?
No.
It happened a long time ago. I'm not surprised. Before Mab was queen, there were two queens of the North and the South. This, and he points to this body in the chair. Can you make a perception check for me again?
I was cocked. It was a 20, but it was cocked. Perception, that's a 19.
Nice. You look at this figure, and maybe the alcohol has just made your eyes sharper at this point. Maybe it's the sting of it. Yeah,
that always happens.
We'll say that's what it is. We'll say that's what it is. You can see the figure now. You've gotten a little bit closer on this side of the room. It's an emaciated, almost mummified figure, slumped in this chair, humanoid, elven ears. Very long, silvery hair that is wound around the chair and down around the legs. There's so much hair, and it sort of ends in a little spiral underneath the chair. And for all intents and purposes, this figure looks dead. The eyes are sunken and closed. The skin is sallow and thin. There's a very elegant aquiline nose, very high cheekbones.
Is she breathing? Do I see her chest?
With your 19, you're staring at her and you're like, this girl is dead. But just so faintly, almost non-existent, you see the chest rise very slowly. And it holds for a minute, and then very slowly it goes back down. The smallest of movements. almost like she's in a state where her body is doing just the bare minimum to stay alive.
So, we're gonna talk about her, or...
Oh, I guess we have to. This is Morgeth.
Morgeth?
Morgeth.
Do I know who that is?
You don't. You've never heard of a Morgeth, ever. She was the ruler of what you now call the Unseeley domain in the south. She and her sister, the queen in the north, fought constantly. Her sister ruled with a very iron fist. She was very complicated. She was a complicated woman. She had the good of her people in mind. She perhaps did not necessarily go about enacting it in the best way. She wanted to build a utopia. Her sister was very much a Morgeth, very much a the strongest survives. Very nature takes its course kind of a ruler. There was a lot of chaos and violence in the South a long time ago. And the two sisters came to a head. And they fought, and while they were fighting, Mab saw an opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds like her.
Yeah. And I don't blame her for it. She saw the way that the North was being ruled, and she saw the problems in it, and she decided to take the throne.
Good.
She's done well. There's a lot less physical violence.
So is she a threat? Should we just get rid of her, or what?
You cannot kill Morgeth.
Oh, right, you said
This is how you get rid of her.
that. I see. You put her on like a stasis
Yes.
spell or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why you're here, to make sure she stays like that. Got it. Great. So what do you need me for?
She has been looking healthier each day,
Oh.
and that is dangerous.
I mean, she doesn't look very good.
She
I gotta
doesn't.
be honest
No,
with you.
she looked worse. There's something happening in the Feywild. I don't know what it is. I am stuck here.
Does it have something to do with the king disappearing?
No.
No.
He can do what he will. He saw an opportunity and he took it as well, and I don't blame him either, but Failshin is not our problem right now.
This new guy, the guy that's trying to take the throne, is he...
He could be a problem.
Okay. I also heard about some Isoth, some snake
Yeah.
person.
She's not from here.
She.
She is incredibly powerful, and I only know... This is going to sound crazy. The Feywild talks to me. I can...
Are you a druid?
No. But the magic of the realm itself, the land and the nature is alive. The Feywild, the domain, this plane of existence here has a sort of consciousness of its own. And it tells me how things are going. It's how I know that Mab is doing decently.
So she's okay.
Mab... Well, Mab disappeared 2 days ago.
Yeah, I heard. But she does that from time to time.
She
That's
does.
not strange.
She went... Well, Interplanar travel has been very complicated for a while now. Somehow, Failshin and Mab are no longer on this plane. They are outside of the Feywild. I don't know how.
Okay.
That hasn't been possible in a long time. This is so complicated.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
Why did they go there? I don't know. See, I don't know if I believe you, because Mab, like, this is her home. This is all she cares about.
There's a bigger threat happening. There's many things happening at the same time that could be catastrophic. So if Mab needs to leave to see what's happening outside of this plane, something that could affect this plane and is already affecting this plane.
Why wouldn't she send one of us? Why would she do it herself?
I don't know the ways of Mab.
It must have been big, whatever it was.
It is. Whatever it is already here, and you've seen it. Whatever.
Is that what's making everybody sick?
I believe. Months ago, I saw a star fall from the sky. The Feywild told me of it. It tells me of this corruption that it has never experienced before. The Feywild is in pain. It's so... I don't know how to explain or describe an entire plane suffering. The land itself suffering. The magic of this realm and the sentience that it has is suffering from this blight. Whatever it is, she, Morgeth, started to get better when that star fell. I don't know how, I don't know why. I know these two things are connected. It's just too much of a coincidence.
So you're saying the star fell from the sky, and that's what makes you think the sickness has come here, and she's getting better because of that?
It's just too much of a coincidence for me to discount it. She has looked like this for centuries. Worse.
Well, who put her here like that? Who did that?
I did.
Oh. Are you dying?
Yes and no. That statue that you put your blood on, the reason you're here, it was my statue. It was a statue to me. I was Morgeth's right-hand man a long, long time ago. And then I fell in love. Told you it was complicated.
The blood that I put on the statue brought me here. Do you know where Narelle is?
Not on this plane. The blood on my statue bound you to me.
I'm already bound to Mab. I can't be bound to too many people, you know.
You are bound by blood to me, whether you chose to or not. I know it was not exactly what you wanted, which is why I asked your permission to bring you here.
I see.
And I know your dedication to Mab. Mab will want to know that this is happening, and he looks very pointedly at Morgeth.
So you want me to tell her that?
Yes. I'm going to send you
to Mab.
Wherever she is.
Great. Let's go.
I can't guarantee she's somewhere safe.
Won't be the first time I've been thrown in the middle of a shit. Won't be the first time I've been put in a dangerous situation.
Fair. I understand. A dangerous situation. Yeah.
So let's go.
Okay.
What are we waiting for?
All right. I had something to offer you if you agreed. Do you want?
What?
I mean, a look at your past life.
What do I need to look at my past life for?
Usually people are curious. Do you know how red caps are made?
Oh,
I'm assuming
yeah.
you do.
Oh yeah, I've seen them born. I looked after them. I watched them die on the battlefield. So yeah, I know how they're made.
So you know that when they are created from the blood spilled on a battlefield, they use the soul of a soldier that was slain in that battle. You know that you were created from someone, right?
I knew I came from blood, so that's kind of like coming from somebody, but I didn't think there was a soul involved.
You cannot create something out of nothing. A soul is an immutable object. That is not something that can be created out of thin air. You were created from someone, and I was going to offer you a glimpse at who that was, if you were curious.
You mean like where the blood came from?
Where you came from, the person, the soul.
Oh.
You don't have to say yes. I just know a lot of people are very curious.
I'm a real simple guy.
I know.
So I don't know if I'm gonna like whoever this person is that I was born from, you know?
He was a great warrior, I can tell you that.
Okay,
He
that's good.
was
That's good.
my friend.
He was a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Bosog starts getting real awkward.
You don't have to. Some knowledge is...
Do you have more of that mushroom stuff?
Yeah.
You know, why don't we have a couple more of those, and
Okay.
then you can tell me about your friend, this one that I,
Sure, yeah.
came from.
Yeah, okay, come with me. He takes you back over to the table, and he begins to pour another wooden cup full of this incredibly viscous alcohol. And he fills your cup every time if you nod. He fills it 3 times. It's potent stuff.
Good.
You could light a match while you're breathing out, and you'd be breathing fire. Pure alcohol fumes. He does not know how to distill very well.
After Bosog, after I drink a couple of those and I get a little less awkward or nervous. All right. Dovka?
Dovka.
Dovka, okay.
If you mix up the words, it spells vodka.
Ah,
Yeah,
now I can remember it.
I figured.
Okay, why don't you tell me who this guy was?
Do you want me to tell you, or do you want me to show you?
Whichever one you want to do. He's your friend.
He's my friend, but this is who you were.
Yeah,
Who you were created from.
right.
I have not lived a good life. I have hurt a lot of people, and I made a promise that I would be as gentle and kind and sparing as I possibly could.
Yeah, you seem like you've been through a lot.
I've lived a long time, but I don't want to do anything unless you agree to it.
Look, I appreciate you trying to, take my feelings into account and stuff, but if this has something to do with Mab and making sure that she's protected and I can go there and help her, then let's do it.
I'll let you make your own decisions.
I'm making it right now.
Okay, all right. He begins to draw a ward on the table in his finger. Just He's not leaving ink or anything behind, but he's drawing some kind of an invisible symbol. And when he's done, he looks at you, and then he slams his winged hand on top of it, and a feather goes flying. As he does, this glyph lights up underneath his hand. Bright purple, almost a neon lavender, and it fills your vision. And you hear this ringing, like you've just been boxed around the ears. And when it starts to fade, and when you get your vision back, you're blinking rapidly. You can feel the pain of your eyes dilating very quickly. You see a moving picture happening around you. And the sounds are all echoing as if from another room entirely, but you know that they're happening around you. Almost artistic tableaus. This army moves around you in different fighting techniques, in different forms. There's a fireball that goes off in the distance, and you see bodies flying. And you can see your hands already moving. And there's an elf in front of you. You are wearing this dark obsidian armor. You can see it on your arms. You can see the sword that you have in your hand. And there's some insignia, but whoever you're looking through the eyes of right now is not paying attention to your own insignia. You're looking dead ahead at this elf that you're fighting. There's a sunburst with a lily in the center emblazoned on the front of their white gold armor. And it's so shiny, you can see your own reflection in it as you go to swipe your sword at this elf. And when you see yourself, it's just a quick glimpse, you see a face you've never seen before. And a kind of elf you've never seen before. The face is almost alien. There's no dimples, no wrinkles. You can't see cheekbones. It's very serene. This little dip, the Cupid's bow, not even there. There are no eyebrows. Dark eyes, very pale. Very short, blonde hair. You swipe, and your enemy falls. That vision of you is gone because the armor lands heavy on the ground. You hear a gurgling, and you move on. You're in the heat of battle. You know this very well. You're moving through these enemies, kicking them back. You see Eladrin, you see satyrs on both sides. There's a roar in the distance. You see a Fomorian troop coming in and sweeping the ground. And all of a sudden, you hear this call, a horn blowing, and it is a deep, deep sound. And it frightens you. And on the hilltop, you see coming over the ridge, this one figure, as tall as life itself, and somehow timed perfectly, this sunburst at her back, her hair floating around her head like she's in water. Mab, coming to the battlefield. And she holds out her arms, and she shouts, and a wave, a shockwave, is sent from her. And you feel yourself get pushed back. And that's where your vision ends. When you come to, your face is pressed into the roughly hewn desk that Dovka has made, and you've been drooling a little bit. And there's a cup in front of you that is turned over, half empty, and you hear that snoozing sound from Dovka again, and he's like, it looks like it would be so uncomfortable. He's in his chair with his neck craned all the way back. His head is like pressed on top of his shoulders, and he's just passed out.
Oh.
Your whole body is so stiff.
Oh.
Oh, man. That mushroom stuff really packs a kick. Holy. Normally it takes at least a day before I feel this rotten.
It's rough. And it's a little disorienting because you just came from a situation where you were 3 or 4 feet taller than you are now. So your depth perception for a moment is a little off.
Did I hear things when I was having this vision?
It was all muffled and tinny.
Oh, that's right, echoey, yeah. But I knew it was Mab for sure.
Oh yeah. There's an unmistakable silhouette that she makes.
Hey, Dovka. I'm gonna nudge him.
Yeah, what?
So an elf. Pale skin.
Yeah.
Smooth. No lips. Short hair. Blonde.
No, you had lips. You. Yeah. Yes.
So he was a warrior for the Unseeley?
What you would call the Unseeley, yeah.
And that's why he was cutting down Eladrin and other elves.
Yeah.
And then Mab took him out?
Mab saw her opportunity when these two armies were fighting.
Right. Yeah, you said that.
You see, the Queen in the North wasn't there. She disappeared. She wasn't at that. She was supposed to be at that battle, but she wasn't.
Was the Queen of the South there?
Yes, she was. She would not miss a battle.
So were things going her way, and then Mab showed up?
No. It was going to be
a fair fight.
A fair fight and a slaughter on both sides. You have to understand, these queens, they both had a way of riling up their troops. They both had a way of lying about the other side that made you viciously angry. For no good reason.
So what was his name?
Ilanis. One of her captains.
One of your captains?
Yes.
So you worked for the Queen of the South at one point?
Her, yeah, I did.
And then you turned on her? Because of Mab?
No.
Because you didn't like what she was doing?
Yes and no. I fell in love.
Oh, right, you said that. Who'd you fall in love with? Just out of curiosity.
Not a good person. Queen of the North.
Ah.
It was one of those relationships that was not good, but I couldn't understand why I needed to leave it. Do you understand?
Sure. A little bit.
It was intoxicating. It was hard to see myself outside of it at a certain point.
So what happened to her?
I don't know.
Let's see.
I know her son is the one causing all the trouble.
How so?
Dannon.
Oh.
He's trying to take back his mother's throne. And this creature from another plane, this Soth, found him and began whispering this vile platitudes into his ear. He was terrible before her, don't get me wrong, she made him worse. And together they are a threat. She's not some mere mortal, you understand. Your friends are going to fight a god. I don't want to call her a god, but she's almost there. Do you know what an anathema is?
No.
Certain Yuan-Ti snake people are very, very lovely. There are some, Morgeth designed this herself, there are some that go through a ritual by choice, and they become what is called an anathema, on their way to godhood. I don't think Morgeth had anything to do with this, Isoth. I think that Morgeth created the ritual and it spread out of her control. But this anathema is incredibly dangerous, and when you are a god, or when you're incredibly powerful, there are echoes of you in places. This anathema, I don't think if she's killed on this plane, she will be gone. I think there is an echo of her existing elsewhere. That means this anathema on our plane is much weaker, but once she's killed here, I don't think she's killed for good.
Right, but it would at least slow her down, right?
Yes,
Right.
it would. Hopefully. And she would not be able to enact her plans on this plane. She would be gone from here.
So why don't you just tell me how to get rid of her, and then I'll go back, and Al and the rest of us will take care of her.
Because I need you to get this information to Mab, and you are the only one that I can pull here. You're the only one that I can talk to.
I don't know if I like the idea of leaving Al and even that hoity-toity paladin, Camden, or the new fairy. I don't know if I like the idea of just letting them, get ripped apart.
I'm not going to lie, I don't know how that battle will end. I know it will not be easy for them. I do know a very powerful friend is coming to help them. Someone who is going to bring them the news that Mab is missing from this plane. They will not
Who?
be alone. You've met him. The fancy gentleman, very graceful and posh, one that gave you the quests.
Right. Lorcat.
That, yes.
Yeah. I don't really think of him as a fighter, but
You would be surprised.
yeah.
He's much more powerful than he looks, and it's a good thing that he's on Mab's side, I will just say that.
Okay.
You seem to have a very, very deep affinity for your queen, and that's part of the reason I wanted you to be the one to go to her. I cannot go before Mab. If I leave here, I will die.
How do you know that?
Feywild told me. I am kept alive here to keep an eye on her.
Okay.
I chose this.
Okay.
Call it penitence.
So is there some kind of way to send a message back to Al so that he at least knows what he's in for?
I can ask the Feywild. It communicates with you all the time. Through the emotions that you feel. Through those waves in the air. It is always talking to you. I can ask it to send them solace. And a feeling of understanding.
See, here's the thing.
Yes.
If you can talk to the Feywild, right? And you can get a message to him, you just gotta tell him what he's in for. Al's a smart guy, you know. He can think his way around things that, you know, are way beyond me. So I figure you tell him about Isoth, and he'll figure out a way to make it work, even with Lord Ket helping out, you know. And I don't see why the Feywild would want to get rid of Isoth if Isoth isn't from here.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
It wants to get rid of her, but the Feywild can't speak. You understand? I can speak to the Feywild, and it can speak to me because I am part of it now. I'm not necessarily alive, but I'm not dead. I am part of the Feywild.
Can it speak to the trees in the Feywild? Because the Paladin, Camden, he really likes trees and babbling brooks for some weird reason.
I like babbling brooks.
Right. I mean, they're nice, but
They don't babble
I'm not
too
going to have a
much.
conversation with them. You know?
Understandable.
Yeah. So if you can somehow get the message to him that way, he tells Al figures it out.
I will do my best.
Okay.
I will do everything that I possibly can. They will get some kind of message.
Great. If that's the case, then yeah, send me the map.
Okay. This is going to hurt. Have you ever gone to another plane before?
Not unless Mab sent me there.
No, she wouldn't have. It's an incredibly uncomfortable feeling. Your body... There are safer ways to send people, but I have only the means that I have. It won't feel nice. I just want to warn you. But you seem like a guy who can take a lot of pain.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Is there something you're not telling me? Because I kind of feel like you're telling me as much as you need to tell me, and there's something else going on.
I mean, listen, I've been here for centuries. My brain is like Swiss cheese. I've told you what I think will be important. If you want a deep dive, this could take days.
No. We don't got that kind of time. I seen what happens to people that get sick from this thing.
You won't get sick from this. The way that I am sending you, you will pass right by from it. You will
No,
never
I
go-
mean the sickness that's coming here. The blight.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my big concern, and that's why I was trying to help out Mab as much as possible, because I know she wouldn't want that to happen either.
No, she doesn't. I think part of her, most of her leaving the way she did is because she wants to deal with it herself. And because this is something incredibly powerful, and I don't know Mab, but I would hazard a guess that she doesn't want those close to her to be close to it until she knows more. But like I said, I don't know the woman. Her Highness.
She doesn't like threats. She has a tendency to snuff them out before they become an issue.
Understandable. I mean, I would too. I did. A long time ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm ready if you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember how to do this.
Before he does anything,
Uh-huh.
I have a new ability
Uh-huh.
called Bolstering Magic. I can touch one creature, which can be myself, and confer one of the following benefits of your choice to that creature. For 10 minutes, the creature can roll a d3 whenever making an attack roll, an ability check, and add that number roll to the d20 roll, or roll a d3 and that creature regains one expended spell slot, the level of which equals the number rolled or lower, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 3 uses. I don't trust his capabilities.
That's fair, yeah.
So I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder
Uh-huh.
and then put a hand on my heart
Uh-huh.
and go, I believe you can do this, which I don't believe at all. And we're going to make it through, okay?
He kind of squints a little bit and he goes, thanks.
And then I'll use it on myself at the same time.
Okay. He goes to one of the walls and he puts his hand up, and these vines from between the thick branches on this wall start to come in, and they envelop his hand, and this heat, this ozone smell begins to radiate from his hand, and he, with his other free hand, he closes his eyes and he begins to draw the shape of a door. And when he gets down to the ground and he completes the door, it begins to shimmer and a portal appears where it was. And he looks at you and he says, do you want a drink for the road?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. If you need more, come back and see me, please. I don't see people. I would love to.
Well,
Talk
you
to
call
someone.
on me, so
All right.
I guess
will.
if you want to have a conversation at some point, you know where to reach me.
I made a dice game. I would love to test it with you if you ever have downtime.
Yeah,
Okay.
whenever Mab wants to give me a vacation.
Sure. All right. Good luck.
It was nice meeting you. And he
Nice
grabs onto either side of his cap and he just jumps right through the gate head first.
You jump through this portal, and it is so painful. It's like your body is being broken and remade as you pass through these
I
waves
would
of
probably
energy.
rage if that's the case.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
in the middle of all of that, I'll just start screaming.
There's these waves of energy that are coming at you. It's almost like you're floating through a tunnel of energy. It's this bright blue light, and you can just barely see what almost looks like shooting stars going around you in an arch. And there's just the faintest seam of like an aurora borealis above you. And you can look down and see yourself, and your body is fine. You're not being unmade and remade or whatever. It feels like it. Every single nerve ending is on fire. And can you make me a con save as you get pushed like a punch in the gut out the other side of the portal, and you land in a face full of the brightest green grass you've ever seen in your life?
15.
A 15. You are in like a cat position on the ground, and your senses are so overwhelmed, you get incredibly dizzy.
I would try to push myself up and stand up and like reach out and grab something and probably fall over from the being disoriented. But you know how when you see those guys that are like, they're way too drunk or disoriented or whatever, and instead of just sitting down or laying down, they attempt to stand up and like stay up. That's what he's doing right now. 100%.
Maybe it's the mix of the alcohol, maybe it's the mix of what's just happened to you, but everything is spinning.
Yeah.
And it's, when you lay down and you're super drunk and it's like the world is still spinning inside of your head, you feel like you're constantly in motion. That's what happens when you fall down into this grass and you look up into a violet colored sky with these like ice crystals floating in where clouds would be. And there's this very bizarre feeling where you're on the ground, but you look up and you see branches reaching into the sky, but they're bare. And it takes you a second and you register those are roots reaching into the sky like branches. And when you turn your head and you look, you see a tree that looks like it's growing upside down. And in front of this tree is a stone circle that looks like it's about 2/3 complete. And inside is a woman staring at you with a little bit of a smile on her face. And her hair is floating around her head in this halo like she's underwater. And she's floating about that far off the ground, and her beautiful gown that looks like a sunset is floating around her as well. She has incredibly long limbs, long fingers, long elegant nails. There's an air of sophistication to her, but also a wild danger that is intoxicating. And she levels you with her gaze. And your queen says, "Ah, it's good to see you again."
Hey, boss. How you doing?
Fine. Enough.
I'm gonna try to push myself up.
You do. You manage to get to your feet. You have to kind of, the way babies waddle like a little penguin, you have to very carefully make yourself a little bit bigger so you can balance. But you do. You get on your 2 feet. It's tentative, though.
Are
Are you all right?
Yeah, never better.
Hmm.
I ran into a friend of yours. His name is like vodka. Dovka. He's the one that called me to him and then sent me here to talk to you.
Why did he send you here? How did he send you here?
He just drew a line on the wall and a door opened up and then I jumped through it. He said it was going to be really painful, but he was not exaggerating. It was very, very painful.
I imagine the way that he sent you probably is. Why are you here?
He wanted me to tell you that Isoth is in the Feywild. Yeah, I knew you weren't going to be happy about that. And Isoth is working with Dannon, trying to get Dannon to
As you say, Dannon, this immediate shift happens in her. Her face darkens as if she's in a shadow. She grows a little bit larger. Her hair gets this silvery steel glint to it. And her dress goes midnight black, and it becomes very, very cold all of a sudden. She says, "Don't say that name in my presence."
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. Please continue.
They're working together, trying to get trying to get the son of the Seeley queen who's no longer around.
He's not her son.
All right. Trying to get him on the throne.
My throne.
Right. They're trying to take over, essentially. And we were going to go down there and we were going to take care of it, but then things just got messed up. It was me and Al and the guard, Sir Camden, and Narelle. We talked to Lorquette. He sent us down there, and we were just going to look around, and then we realized that things were a lot worse because everybody's getting sick now, including druids. And so we were going to go down there and make sure that, they didn't get what they wanted.
There's a lot of things happening at once.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I put you in the middle of it, but I knew that you could handle it. You saw Dovka in person.
Yeah. Kenku, Birdman.
Yes.
Yeah. Got some gray around his neck. Doesn't look so good, but I didn't want to say anything.
I mean, he's almost older than me, so.
And she was there.
She who?
Morgeth. She's all tied up in her own hair on a chair. She looked dead, and then I noticed that her chest was moving that much.
What?
Real slow, yeah. And I was like, why don't we just get rid of her? And then he was like, you can't.
She cannot die.
Right, that's what he said.
And that means Worse than I feared. Fantastic. It's good that you gave me this information. And unfortunately you now, because you are here, and as she speaks, she starts to warm up a little bit, and her clothes, this gown that she's wearing that floats around her, sort of becomes like a twilight sky. And her hair sort of starts to slowly come down, and it gains a navy-ish color. I'm afraid you're stuck here with me.
What are we gonna do?
Wait.
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 Okay. What are we waiting for?
This, and she points to the almost completed stone circle that she's standing in.
You want me to put it together for you?
You can't. It's a bridge, and I need it completed by someone else. In another plane.
Boss, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you want to leave the Feywild? Why would you do that?
I don't want to leave. I needed to. There are things happening outside of our plane that are going to affect us. I wanted to see what Failshin was doing. He found a rip. I don't know how. I wanted to find out. So I followed him, and I am stuck here.
Where are we?
It's in between. We are not in the Feywild, obviously. We are not in the other realms. We are in between.
That's not good.
No. And interplanar travel is beyond even me right now. There was an event many, 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 many years ago that cut the planes off from each other. So we have been finding ways to sneak. And unfortunately, we had a dead end here. But when this is complete, we will be able to get back.
So why don't you send me?
I can't.
Why not? I was sent here by the Dovka.
It's a one-way rip. The Feywild itself must have used its own magic to get you here. And if I'm not there, I can't use that magic to get you back. So, come here. And she holds out one very pale, cold hand to you.
He doesn't hesitate. He walks up and puts his hand in hers.
She holds it gently, and she draws you into the circle. And it's strange because Mab does not normally show affection, but she stands there holding your hand and just looking forward, and she says, "Together we will wait until the circle is complete, and we will go back together, and we will prevent that brat from taking my throne."
I got you something.
You got me something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I found it, but I think you're gonna like it.
And he pulls out the answer sword.
She begins to look warmer, brighter. Her vestments become dawn, and her hair suddenly gets this golden metallic glint to it, and you can see her eyes brighten visibly, and she reaches out.
He gently puts it in her hands.
A very pretty blade.
Yeah, it belonged to Ruin Longarm. And I guess it's supposed to make it to where, you know, you can't get sick.
Thank you. You know, this blight, and she sets the tip into the ground and she puts both her hands on it very regally. This blight. It's not natural.
Yeah, I know.
It cannot be cured by regular means.
I
In
know.
fact, I have yet to find a cure. I was hoping part of me leaving would be me finding. All I've come across are dead ends. This is everyone's problem. We have our own infighting in the Feywild, but this is affecting everyone.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about Al. He doesn't even know what he's getting into.
You
You
should
know?
be worried about all of your friends.
Well,
That night that I sent with you, I felt it when he got sick. I feel it every time someone in my plane becomes sick, this illness. It is almost as if I am sick with them.
I didn't get sick.
I know, and I'm very grateful for that.
I think that's because of you.
I did my best. This knight that I sent you with, he is favored by that trio. And if even they can't keep him from getting this, I am concerned.
We also ran into another friend of yours.
Who?
I hope you don't get angry when I say this, but it was Mama Goodnight.
When you say her name, she had been floating about that far off the ground. Her feet land. She's not wearing shoes. She's wearing like chains that have little gems that are dripping off of it. And her feet touch the grass, and her hair just lands around her shoulder, perfectly lands around her shoulders. And she sighs, and in that sigh, it says more than perhaps she has ever divulged to you. There's a tint of longing and distaste at the same time. Ah, yes. One of my exes. How was she?
She was good.
Good. How did she look?
When we first met her, or later on when she dropped the
When she
illusion?
dropped.
Yeah, she looked like a beat up rag doll.
Yeah.
I also met her kid.
Oh. Yeah. She would never forgive me if she knew that I sent her child on a mission for me, so I didn't tell her.
But isn't that kid also yours?
No.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
I helped
I
raise
wasn't for
her.
sure,
No,
but I was a little okay. I feel a lot better now.
She is not my daughter. My daughter is elsewhere.
So you do have a kid?
I have several. I have one daughter.
How come you never told me?
She was taken from me.
By who?
The old queen.
Morgat?
No. The old queen of the north,
Oh.
Titania.
Oh.
It was retribution. She disappeared with my daughter. And now she does not remember me. Which is fine. It means that she is safe.
Why don't we just go get her back?
Because she is safe if she does not know who I am. I think her father keeps a close eye on her too.
So who do you got doing this? If you
Don't worry
mind me
about
asking.
it. Let's sit here. Tell me of the journey that you went on.
Okay. In a very, very broad strokes kind of way, with the occasional interjection of what he thinks about what actually happened. He'll spill the whole story out to her.
You can tell she is listening, but every once in a while, she's somewhere else. Maybe it's just that she has a lot on her mind. Maybe she's trying to reach out with her senses, see, once again, if there's a way out of here, see if she can see someone or something. She's distracted. She tries to give you as much of her attention as she can, kind of like a teacher. But you sit there, stuck with Queen Mab in this in-between world, and you tell her your story so far. And that's actually where we're going to end this one-on-one, with you stuck in the in-between for now.
That's fitting.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me for the one-on-one.
Yeah.
It was a really good time.
I'm glad I finally got to interact with Mab.
Yeah. It was lovely being here. So thanks. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And we will have the finale soon. It's going to be really exciting, and I'm a little nervous.
I hope they can get their act together before they...
Well, I've done some things to help them, and even more help is coming anyways, so I think...
That's why I was like, can you send them a message and just let them know?
I think they'll be okay. It's going to be a really hard fight between you and me and the audience right now. It's going to be a really hard fight, but I think they can do it. So, thanks for joining. Hey, Jared, humankind.
Be both.
We'll see you
Hey.
next time.